In South Florida, Twist Gaming, featuring lead broadcaster Matt Koza, co-host and creative genius Josh Perry, co-host and interviewer extraordinaire Ann Lazito, co-host and marketing mogul Aaron Murphy, with appearances from special guest Lucy. Welcome to Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're coming to you live here from our studio in South Florida, bringing you another first impression session of our Spotlight streams here. But first up, who are we? I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
We're Twist Gaming. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Tonight we had the pleasure of showing off Sunflower Valley on our Spotlight stream. So if you haven't had the chance to go watch it and play along with us, go check out that video on demand now so you can beat Josh, because I couldn't.
Yeah, Matt was just not capable.
I was this close, but I couldn't do it. So our first impression session is where we talk about our favorite aspects of the game we just played, any constructive criticisms that we might have, and the most important question of the evening of would we play this game again? So before we go any further, I would like to thank Ultra Pro for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams with their sponsorship for Sunflower Valley.
Yeah.
So Josh, what kind of game is Sunflower Valley?
It's a roll and write, but it's got a dice drafting mechanism in it.
And you're drawing.
It's got actually a little bit of area control in it. Just now that I'm thinking about it, there's a little bit of area control in it. And yeah, you're drawing on the board, and you have to draw. You don't have to draw pretty pictures, but the game.
Yeah. Well, this game is also surprisingly more spiteful than you would think by looking at it.
Yeah,
which is very, very interesting.
This nice little. This looks. So look like a wonderful.
It looks awesome. But so this lovely sunflower themed thing has some real hate drafting in it. So we'll jump into that in just a little bit here. So our first impression is our favorite aspects of the game.
Yeah.
So roll and writes are all the rage right now. A lot of people are doing them. So I like that this game kind of differentiated itself with that back and forth dice drafting combined with the area control. It was pretty different, and I like that there was the little minor area control where within the game you're drafting your dice from the 6 that are rolled. The dice have one different symbol on each face, so not only are you selecting that, you're placing them in one of the sections of the main board here, so that basically locks it out. So no one else is going to be able to play a die in any of those sections on that round. So if I put something in green, only I can put something in green that round. Josh cannot.
Yeah.
And so you play until someone fills up their board. Or until everyone fills up their board,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So I like that little twist on things with the area control combined with the dice drafting elements. How about you, Josh?
Yeah, no. You got a lot of things. I like the. There was a nice amount of strategies in it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot thinkier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So it made it fun of trying to fit the puzzle pieces, and then you're like, oh, I need to go do this move, and it's like, oh, the dice is available, but the color isn't. And
yeah.
You have to think of. There's a couple layers to think about it as you try to get through it, which makes it just the right amount of thinkiness for this style game.
I think it also adds just the right amount of player interaction, kind of, by being able to peer over at your neighbor's sheet and see what they're doing. Just because typically a lot of the roll and writes are basically everyone let's play solitaire together where we share a standard component. So
very interesting to see how this play scales up.
Yeah.
So this goes up to 5 players, which means each person gets 1 die and 1 color.
So the
and
game
if you get last pick, you're kind of just like,
ouchie. Yeah. I guess I'm putting one of these 2 symbols, they might be the exact same thing, in here.
This one color that really doesn't help.
So something to note, in the rulebook you said that they recommend you play the game with 4 people first before you play with the 5 people there.
Understand how to play the game first before you go into 5, because
it gets nasty.
5's going to get nasty.
And so
for a game called Sunflower Valley.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's actually a point that I kind of liked about the game, that it kind of was a little meaner than I was expecting, because there is a point of time where I personally get a little bit sick of everyone let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya while we play this game together. This one is let's hold hands and play Kumbaya. By the way, I am going to stab you with a knife right now. It's not quite that take-that-y.
It's not but the amount of player interaction for a roll and write
is
that we've played is
significant.
Is significant.
Yeah.
and you get just bad choice. Like I have to deal with this. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a choice.
And so you could have some really horrible rounds. Like in the beginning of this game, you managed to pull it off with some risky maneuvers because you put the houses before you had the sheep. But we didn't roll sheep in the beginning.
Yeah.
We just didn't
There's
roll
no
sheep. And I was purposely drafting so that Josh would have to select houses.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out in my favor.
Nope.
I was trying to force him into negative points.
Yeah. I was surprised that we didn't get negative points.
Yeah, none of us got negative points. Neither of us got negative points the entire time in all of the 3 games that we played because it is a short game.
Yeah, it's a shorter game.
Playtime, I think that's a checkbox for me because I don't necessarily want to play a roll and write for an hour.
I liked what they did with this board.
Yeah.
This was really cool. So it's got all these little different pictures, and depending on what player board you pick,
You have different.
you have a different picture here, and that
mandatory
shows your
starting
location. So
Yeah.
everyone plays with the same letter board, but of the is there 6 boards? Yeah, there's 6 of each one.
Yeah.
So that you start in one of these 6 different locations.
Right. So that's
Which is
going to
really cool.
give a little bit more randomness and force the fact that people can't play the exact same game.
Getting 6 houses in a train round.
That's hard.
That's like
Well, because to divulge a little bit of strategy here, I was actually planning on going for that the last game.
Same.
I'm like, I don't care if I get the negative points. The problem is that I messed up my railroad placements, so I had to get like a bunch of curved railroads. So I'm like, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot here and not get the points for connecting the house and get a bunch of negative points. So I mitigated it halfway through.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to get that, but it's definitely worth the reward with 30 points there.
Yeah, because our scores were 40s, 50s.
Yeah. So that being, the majority of your score possibly is pretty big. So jumping into the construct. I'm sorry. I have one more point that I wanted to make. I just realized. More for you, but colorblind accessibility.
Oh yeah, they use symbols on all the colors here, so it's super easy to see.
So apologies for the board here, but yellow is square, blue is cross, orange is triangle, purple circle. Just so that gives you, and then green is a star. It might be a little hard to see there, but the game is colorblind accessible, and I'm glad that they thought of that as well.
Yeah.
So going into the constructive criticism section, this is our thoughts of what potentially could be used to improve the game, given that this is our first playthrough of it. So Josh, I'm going to start off with you here.
I really don't. The only issue I had was I kind of wish these were dry erase and not wet erase. I smeared my board a couple of times. It wasn't a big
You mean
issue.
you wish they were wet erase and not
Yes,
dry
thank
erase?
you.
Okay.
Backwards.
Yeah. I could see that being a concern. I definitely smeared my sunflowers a little bit. Thankfully, not too much, but I could see how you would do that. I don't like drawing. I'm really bad at drawing, and it makes me self-conscious when I play games like that. I understand that you can just write like the letter and draw an arrow for the trains.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of detracts from what they're going for here. So personally for me, like I'm not a fan of that element of it. However, the actual backbone of the game I do enjoy.
I like the little pictures they drew in the book. They use like a bunch of different.
They have really nice examples that are very, very, very well illustrated in the book.
And super detailed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't get that detailed with this Sharpie.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, no. Yeah, I thought it was fun, and like because my sheep started looking like jellyfish.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just it kind of added a nice little humor to the game.
I mean, yeah, you could do it that way too. Yeah, I had a problem with it as well because this might have been pro strat on your side. I was trying to peer over to your board, and your sheep looked like your jellyfish. Oh, like your jellyfish. Your sheep looked like your sunflowers. Your sunflowers look like your sheep. Your houses, your houses were better than mine. My houses look like railroads, so it made it kind of difficult. Granted, we are playing far away as well, but
I'm not sure how much of this is a game you're supposed to kind of be peering at your neighbor's board,
that's
or it's
true.
supposed to be a little bit more private information.
that's true. Fair enough.
We play a little bit more backstabby and like, yeah, what do you got going on over there? Yeah, I'm gonna screw that up.
Fair enough.
And mostly the screw up stuff's more like, what color do you need? Because that's typically where you get screwed. Was like,
yeah, your color is not available.
or like, oh, I only have one color left in like one spot. You're like, yep, you're gonna fill that with some random railroad tracks because that looks like it's not gonna do anything for you.
Yep. Here's some crisscrossing railroad tracks that go in the wrong direction.
You can hate draft if you don't know what their board looks like because you can see how the game's been going and it's really like, oh, if it's really sheep light or house light or like curved rail, like
Yeah,
there's you see when people pique their interest when something comes up.
Yeah. Little pokerish people reading skills there.
Yeah.
You got to bluff. I think that's pretty much it. I'm a little salty that I lost you by 2 points twice, which just happens to be the differential for the people points. So
you let me get all those frickin' super
I
happy
got
sunflowers.
a ton of super happy. You got all the houses last round.
I got all the houses last round.
That's the thing, is I got way more super happy sunflowers than you.
The other games I had, like,
Yeah.
you're just like, I don't want the sunflowers. I'm gonna take everything else. I'm like, super happy sunflowers everywhere.
Yeah, I tried that the last game. So the dice just weren't in my favor there. I really don't have any other criticisms here. I think it's laid out pretty fine.
They have how many different boards did we say they had?
Through H.
Through H. So how many is that?
8.
8. I would have liked a different shape on some of these.
So then you would have to have a new starting board.
That's true.
I understand why they did it.
All right.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I would have liked some other shapes.
Yeah, I agree, though. I think having a few other shapes would be helpful. Needs purple trains. Yeah, I think a few other shapes would make things interesting and change up the way things are played.
Yeah. But no, I had fun with it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Matt,
so
would you play this game again?
Absolutely, I'd play this game again. I think this is a great like game night filler game that is a little thinkier and a little more player interactive than your standard roll and write.
I think this is also like a good. I would play this again. I think this is good. Like waiting for everyone to still get there because it's a quick enough game that you kind of play that while you're waiting for people.
Yeah, you don't have to pay a ton of attention to it while you're playing because you can just like if you're playing with a larger group, like everyone take their turn. Then you're like, oh, okay, what dice are available, what spots are available, cool.
Yeah,
you could do it that way.
The rules do have like a. Since we normally ban on, we ask like we should play for kids. I think this is kid friendly, and the rule book even mentions like to make it easier for kids, you can just do the adjacent rule for sheep. So the sheep have to be adjacent to the house and not do the whole railroad track thing because it just gets
a little confusing.
Fair
enough.
But that's like the most confusing part of the game, and it's not.
It's not even that.
It's not that bad.
It's not. Alrighty, cool. So that's 2 thumbs up from us here. So for our viewers watching at home, if that piqued your interest, Sunflower Valley is now available in stores, so definitely go check that out. Yeah. Big shout out again to Ultra Pro for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams here for Sunflower Valley. And if you haven't had the chance to go and watch our video on demand and play along with us, and try and beat Josh because I couldn't do it. You can go and watch our VOD now and play along. Josh uploaded some pictures to the boards in the chat, so you can go and try that out yourself. With that, though, this is going to be Twist Gaming signing off for now. Make sure that you're following us on all of our social media platforms and on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so that way you can get access to all of our content as it's coming out. And with that, signing off, I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
Have a good one, everyone.
Good night.